Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Reverend Filo Show. I am the Reverend, and of course, Filo, as always.
I'm right here.
I'm kind of excited because we got some homies today, finally. We've had like weeks without the homies. We're kind of lonely up in the garage.
So lonely.
So, Jrat, what's up?
What
Welcome
up,
back.
though? What up?
Orlando,
What
my
up,
good
what
friend.
up?
You know what's funny? My Siri, if I go, hey Siri, call Orlando, she'll go, calling Orland. She knows that I call you Orland.
Nice.
Isn't that crazy?
Siri knows you more than you know yourself.
Yeah,
Oh, Siri.
in a way. It's kind of weird to like be able to talk to like, I do talk to Siri like, I just give it commands, you know, remind me of this and that, set this alarm, and she's like, for sure. It's just weird like to talk to a robot.
Didn't you say one time remember when your button busted and you couldn't use your phone? So you like.
Oh yeah.
All you would
My
do is use Siri.
I would use Siri to do everything because I couldn't get into my phone. And I said that.
Yeah, you said
she
you
was doing
established.
so much for me that I started to feel closer to her.
It was gonna be like her.
I started to have like feelings for her.
She was your
that
soulmate.
Spike Jones movie.
Yeah, that's
her.
pretty much the plot of that movie.
Yeah.
Have you ever like
Being in
did?
love with your.
You ever did some shit where it's like, "Hey Siri, I'm in love with you."
I may have tried that,
I have.
and she's like, "I'm a robot."
How did that
Yeah, it's
work
like
for you?
that's like that is physically impossible.
Oh,
I
she's
have
like, "That's a
I have
physical
a-
impossibility."
Yeah,
Please,
she,
for the
she
love of
says
God,
some
don't
shit.
try.
She says some funny ass shit. Like, I'm an artificial.
Like the other day, I said, "Hey Siri," I told her to do something. She goes, blah, blah, blah. She did it, and I said, "Thank you," and she went, "No sweat." I was like, "Damn."
Yeah, it wasn't even like a "you're
Catching no
welcome."
swagger.
It's like
Yeah,
no sweat.
she was like, "Don't
Don't
trip,
even
don't
trip."
trip, dog. I got you.
I know
homie."
we
Don't
have
trip, dog.
We have an Alexa and
My Siri's British, so she's like, "Calling Orland."
we have an Alexa and a Google Home in the restroom.
I kind of want to get like a. some
Well,
sort
we
of
got it
Google
for free
Home.
from Spotify.
So Google Home is made by Google. Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
But
Amazon is Alexa
Yeah.
and then Apple Siri.
yeah,
Okay.
so the way you call them, or the way you say, "Hey Alexa," or you just say Alexa, and then
Mhm.
she'll respond or whatever. And then Google, you have to say, "Hey Google." But every once in a while, because I have both, I get fucking confused when I'm in the restroom and I throw some music on. I'm like, "Hey Alexa," but the Google will respond and be like, "I'm flattered you called me that."
Oh,
But
really?
I'm Google
That's
Home.
fucking sick. You know,
He doesn't
maybe
talk
because like
trash.
we're a little older, so like we got the internet a little later in our lives, and not so much as when we were small kids.
Yeah.
But like, the idea of talking to like having a dialogue with artificial intelligence, even though she's she's just like I'm assuming it's a woman because it's a woman's voice. It's not really anything.
It has no
It has no
binary gender.
Well, it's
Yeah.
binary code, but
Right.
Yeah.
it's non-binary. Siri's non-binary code. No, but I get like I feel cool. Like,
Yeah.
hey Siri, what's up? Send me a reminder tomorrow to call Orlando at 9 a.m. She's like, okay, calling Orlando at 9 a.m. I'll tell you tomorrow. I'm like, thanks. She's like, cool. It's weird. It's fucking weird to like.
It's
I
kind
know.
of like
She feels like a person.
it's kind of
I
like you
kinda
have
feel
this
like
little British slave. My bad.
Yeah, she is British.
I
Well,
got.
that's
She's
yours.
like, call Orlando at 9 a.m.
Go ahead.
I kind of feel like like it's like Iron Man, with his Jarvis. I
Oh.
kind of just feel like I'm
Yeah.
doing whatever in my house, cha-la-la, and then I don't know. Hey Siri, go ahead and do me a favor. Wake me up at 7 a.m. tomorrow. I got an appointment, and go ahead and put that in my calendar too.
Yeah, she does it.
Oh yeah, and she repeats the whole thing back to you.
I'm
And
very into voice command.
You know what I really like is getting the news from Google. Like I'll be taking a shit.
So
or-
you'll
or
say,
fucking-
Google, what's the news?
Yeah, I'll taking a shower or taking a shit. I'll just be like, hey Google, can I get the news? Or hey Google, can I get the news? And they'll be like, boom, and they give me the news, ABC or whatever, CNN, whatever I want to hear. Yeah, it's crazy.
But
That's
you
very,
you know,
very
imagine if eventually Siri and Google and Alexa they start getting annoyed with people so much that they
They're
fuck
like, hey,
up
fuck
your.
you.
They do not like. They're like, yeah, sure, I got your appointment.
Yeah, I
And then
guess.
they're like, they don't wake you up. They
Yeah,
don't call
Siri.
Orlando.
Like, you're all like, Siri, set me an alarm for 8 a.m. She'll be
It's
getting
on-
up at 7, but I guess.
You get your own damn self.
She's like, shit, I know. Why do I gotta do it?
That
They-
shit-
Fucking Siri.
They said they want to program. I remember a while back they wanted to program like a sex doll, like robot sex dolls, to be able
Oh,
to say
yeah.
no.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it
Wow.
added to
I
the
think,
whole
I think we
mystique
talked
of like,
yeah.
you know, the courtship of it. You know?
I think we talked about that, and I said like, yeah, you could program it so that it actually like kind of can like resist you, like reject
Yeah.
you a little bit,
Wow,
which is just seems
that's-
very in depth. Like I'm all about it. I'm all for immersion, you know.
It's a little.
But at that point, you
I
know,
bought a sex doll for one reason.
It's like it's
That's
weird.
the Reaper.
It's like why?
fuck.
It's like why are you
Still feel like I gotta work for the
simulating?
shit.
Why are you simulating real life if you could just live real life? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's the
Well,
whole question. Why people? Why like it's so taboo? Because why don't you just go out and talk to a girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a Simpsons joke where Marge tries to get Bart and Lisa to do yard work, and then Homer's like, oh no, we're gonna go. There's a fucking there's like a fair, like an electronics fair going on. Let's go. Yeah, let's go. So they go to the fair, like oh, I want to go see this. I want to go see that. And Bart's like, yeah, I want to go do the virtual lawn chores. And it's like they have like Oculus on, but they're like trimming, like doing gardening work. And she's like, what the fuck? I just asked you to do that an hour ago.
That's funny.
Well, I guess there are games like that. Farmland or what's it called? Farmville?
farming simulator. They just gave that for free last month on the PS4.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird. I used to play
I mean-
Clash of Clans. That was the
It's
only.
the same shit
That was
as
as
a
far as
fucking
you went?
as a fucking nano pet, the Giga pet, the Tamagotchi
Yeah.
Oh,
pet.
that
little one.
Remember that shit?
That
I
little egg
no
thing,
for
right?
sure. But when you're a
Yeah.
kid, you're simulating being an adult because you're not an adult and you can't do adult things.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're an adult and you're still trying to simulate, like.
You know what it is? It's the work aspect of it. It's like, all right, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna put on these? Am I gonna fucking
Yeah.
open up my phone and grow these
Uh-huh.
carrots and
Uh-huh.
fucking all these vegetables and tend to these animals?
Uh-huh.
I ain't gotta get my hands dirty. I ain't gotta go nowhere. I ain't gotta wake up at 6 a.m. to milk the cows
Yeah,
and shit.
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like you're
Damn.
simulating.
You know what the
but I
next
get
step
the
is?
work. It's like,
Well, wouldn't it be better to get up and milk the cow? And
I mean, it would, but fuck, are you gonna do it?
The
I mean,
next
if
step
I
is
if I wanted to do it, yeah, I would do it. I don't want to do it.
What if they just program robots?
That's why you're not on farmersonly.com.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, plus I
City
don't have-
folk
plus
just
I don't
don't
have a
get
farm.
us.
What if they just program robots that work with the game? So you just
So
press-
now the robot
Start
is
doing
playing
it.
the
But
game
they-
for you.
no.
But they're
So you're
doing
playing
it
the game, but
yeah.
the robots act out whatever you're playing in the game. So that way, if you got to tend to your carrots, you got to milk the cow. You just
Oh,
sit-
so
You tell
like
your
the work's
robot to
still
do
getting
it?
done, but
Yeah.
you're controlling it
Yeah, you
from like a
control-
main hub. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're controlling the robot.
See, that'd be
Wow.
cool.
That's
Also-
cool, I guess.
Also, I
but-
probably wouldn't
That's
put that in
cheating.
the hands of a kid because some kid like,
Plus,
oh
that
yeah, hey, I'm gonna just
sounds
keep
like
watering
very
it.
expensive.
And then next
Yeah.
thing you know, like the whole farm is out the door.
The whole farm is like overgrown your house. You lost in a cornfield and shit, and this robot is still watering plants outside. Right?
Fuck.
For real, man.
Fuck. Yeah, I'm high as fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck,
so
let me
they
hit
probably-
that.
You want to hit it? Here.
Fuck.
I like how I just
Social
casually
distancing.
got back into smoking weed. Like
It's a little
Oh,
taboo.
yeah.
I didn't smoke for a while.
I feel like what's funny?
I knew it was gonna happen though. I said, I remember I stopped smoking and I said, I'll start again.
it's gonna happen eventually.
But right now I just don't feel like it.
They always come back. We always do.
But I'm only smoking the stizzy now. I don't smoke the flower anymore.
Didn't you
So-
say it's a different high? You like this Disney?
I like this. The stizzy one is less psychoactive because I'm prone to anxiety. So the stizzy, you just kind of like get all derped out, you know.
Yeah. You see, I think that's why I stopped smoking the oil ones because I felt like I was like too.
I try to limit
No.
myself too. Like right now, I'm kind of hitting it a lot because we're hanging out. But like during the day, like I'll hit it like a little bit in the morning, and then I'll just do shit and like
Wake and bake.
yeah. So this shit'll last. If I took this to work, this shit'll last me 2 days if I'm lucky. If I'm fucking being generous.
Yeah.
Damn, 2 days.
1.5.
Yeah, because then like guap, I'll be like, oh, let me hit that.
Oh, I want to shop with that.
But guap, he's trying to fucking like a balloon. So and then he knows I have it, so he'll be like, what's up? Because like,
How do you tell you?
what's up? That's what he would do it. What's up? Because like, how good, like we go to work, we go on break, then back from break,
Yeah.
the pen was perfect because it's like you hit it real quick and then you're back on zone and you're freshly faded, But like you don't have to worry about like smelling like weed or like you had to go
That's
to the
true.
parking lot and smoke a joint and now walk all the way back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See, you know what's funny? Like back in the days, we used to get the gloves from Patina, and we would kind of we would go down, blaze it, we would roll up a blunt, and we'd wear the gloves that they would use for the cooks, just so we didn't have that smell of like
Yeah,
the
on the
blunt.
fingers, that's
yeah,
right.
You know
who did that? It was actually Tupac. He's the one who got me, like,
Innovative.
yeah.
Oh.
Wait, what did you do? I missed that. I started thinking about this other story.
Hey, well, glad to hear you paying attention now.
No, because
okay,
I'm going to tell another story right now. But
So we would get the gloves
give me
from
the short,
Patina.
the paraphrase version. Schedule the end. I missed.
Gloves,
Uh-huh.
Pushy.
weed,
Okay.
smellless,
Oh,
odorless.
Would you have a
Hey,
spray
you
of
got
some
it.
sort?
No, the gloves.
The
Hey, well,
gloves,
we're just
damn
gonna-
it, the
Gloves.
gloves.
Let's go to the story you were thinking of in your head.
No, I was going to say,
Odor on gloves, not
So-
on fingers.
the music center, Orlan got me the job at the music center.
Nice.
Jordan's the one who, the patented name with the phone number.
Mhm.
And my first shift ever, I literally was getting mentored at the Disney, my first shift ever. Orlan was my senior. And, you show up to a new job.
I made that happen, by the way.
Oh.
Right, okay. So, I didn't
I made
understand
that
what it was to have pool at the music center back then. It was just a job to me. So you show up at a job, right? And you're on you're there. You
Yeah.
can't just let your hair down. You got to like kind of ease your way in,
Yeah, yeah.
So you're on your best behavior. So I'm like, standing up straight and,
Yeah.
on my best behavior. And Orlan, we go on break and Orlan's like, yo, what's up? Let's go Blazer real quick. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, dude, we only have like 15 minutes like on break. Like, what are you talking about?
I imagine him
And he
telling
was
you.
like, don't worry about that. You do what I say and you'll be all right.
You're standing there. Can I
That's
take
all
your
right.
headset?
And you know what? I did what he said, and lo and behold, we fucking smoked and back in less than 15. I'm back on zone. Like,
And you said you get anxiety, right?
this was long before that though.
Oh,
This
yeah.
was long. This is back when I was just blazing and be like,
Low key, I've been to all of my job interviews high as fuck. And that way when I show up to work and I'm not faded, they be like, hey, something wrong? When I'm high, it's like normal.
that's like
So,
normal.
Yeah,
That's like that
I'm
Family
good.
Guy where he takes his driver's license picture drunk, so that if he ever gets pulled over drunk, he looks sober.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny.
Oh man, but
feel like
I
that's
was
why
thinking
always
about
show up.
that, like when they put the word out that we're not gonna go back, or if we do, not till next year, pretty much. So I mean, I think that's the nail in the coffin for a lot of people, especially people who that was their only job. But I was kind of like schmeh, but I was kind of like, damn, there's gonna be a lot of people I used to see like almost every day, who like I considered friends, that I'm just not gonna see anymore. you know?
Right.
I'm not gonna hit them up or like tell them to come over.
Well, who are they? Who are they?
But
Tell me.
they
Yeah,
were friends of
name
mine.
names.
I
Name
consider
names.
them
They're gonna be friends I miss.
They're gonna be friends that I'll think about from time to time and be like,
They're
man,
gonna
those were good times.
They're going to be friends that aren't going to be a friend anymore after they hear this.
I don't know who they are though.
Nah, it's fucking with you.
They know. They know.
They know because you haven't reached out.
Because like you guys, I'll still see. All that I know fucking forever, probably too long. But like,
Yep. Yeah.
if we ended let's say like we ended the podcast, like all right, we had a good run. You think you think we'd still like hang out as much as we do? Probably not. Huh? I'd still
Not
invite
as
you over
much,
to the
yeah.
pad though.
I think I'll go over
If
once
we
in a while.
if we had like a party or something, I'd be up like Felipe, like, hey, come through.
Well, you have before. I would like to think
That's
you
true.
would.
How about that time you let me and Guap in
think
the
we're
alley?
friends.
Oh,
Damn, what? An alley story?
We fucking
this was
me and Guap. We fucking. It was New Year's Eve, I think. I was somewhere we got out of work late. It was like midnight, but we were like, fucking. I think it was Belkis who was like, "Oh, come through to Felipe's. We're having a party. Come through. It's just you and Guap, or no, it's just you and the Rev. Come through." So we went, but we went to your old pad
Oh yeah, the one right there.
that I didn't know that you had moved.
Well, the backstory to that was my.
Wait, I didn't get to finish my story.
Well, just
Wait,
real quick.
just-
Just real quick. Just the information.
No.
Inside scoops.
So we went to my grandma's house. We do have the New Year's party.
Right. So where I went
Yeah.
was correct normally.
Yeah, normally.
So abnormally.
So
But-
it was an abnormal night.
Well,
Okay.
we couldn't have that many people over, and I was trying to keep
Right.
it low key, but
Shit,
a lot
Balky's
of,
was fucking putting that shit on Snapchat.
Yeah.
No, I was kidding.
Well, we had already a lot of people that we didn't even want it. That we were like, who the fuck are you? So at that point, my grandma was like, all right, is that it? I was like, yeah, that's it. So then his story from there.
So the party's
so
unlocked.
we were like, she was like, come through, and I think this was early enough to where there was still it wasn't at maximum occupancy.
Yeah.
And but we ended up at the wrong spot, so we're like, oh, call Felipe, or we had because we were like, I guess I knew Felipe,
Uber over there,
but
what?
like Balky's was like negotiating, like for some reason we were going through Balky's for some reason, and Guap calls her back, and he's like, oh yeah, and Balky's just like, yeah, nah. Felipe said you can't come over anymore.
So you guys were stuck in the alley?
And we were like, what the fuck? And I remember thinking, like, what the fuck? Fuck, Felipe. What the fuck is this? What the fuck happened? 20 minutes ago, we were a shoe-in. I was mad at you for a while.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wasn't mad, but I was a little salty about it.
And then you
In
say
the back of my head.
at that time, that's when Mike was on setup too. So you were like, what the? And Mike was like, nah, I can't get you
and
on.
I would be like, let me get on setup.
Damn.
And Mike would be like, nah. And I'd be like, fucking Mike, fuck Felipe, fuck all the motherfuckers.
Damn, dude. Cold.
Fuck everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, man, good times.
So how's quarantine been treating you, J-Rad, Orland?
Man, quarantine's been it's like a double-edged sword, It's good because I get to spend time with my kids, my family,
Yeah.
That's just
And especially now because they're young, so these are like the crucial moments that I would have been missing out on if I was working.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
But-
true.
Absolutely.
But I'm still so used to like always working that now when I'm at home, I just like
You get like anxious.
I get anxiety, and then my wife is working from home,
home.
so she's working remotely, and
That government.
she's gotta focus on working,
Right. So
and
you
then
gotta
the kids
be.
are at home too. I gotta try to deal with them sometimes by myself, but she always is there to help out. She'll step away for a few minutes and help me out.
sure.
But like it's hectic, man.
For sure, and you have young kids.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
how old's your daughter now? Like 1 maybe?
No, she's 2.
2, and then your
Yeah.
son's 4.
He's gonna be 4. He just he's 3 right now.
Yeah, that's actually one thing. I have been spending a lot of time with my family lately. Like I pretty much see my parents and my brother and my niece like every weekend now. Before I wouldn't see them weeks at a time because we would work straight. We would work sometimes 7
there's
days
just
a
no
week.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would just, and the rest of the time I would just be wanting to get drunk because I was all stressed out from work.
Speaking
So
of
I would never
work.
go around. Fuck, but that's cool, man. Yeah, that must be heavy though.
What about you, Orlando?
I fucking
Smoke.
smoke weed and order Uber Eats all day.
Yeah, it's
Life.
been that way a lot. Shit.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, at my apartment, it's kind of like, it's very like, there's a lot of, very traditional, Latino people,
Yeah.
In your
like,
house or like in
like
the
Mexi- no, in the apartment.
complex?
Because the complex, it's not. It's like maybe like there's like maybe like 7 or 8 people, other like people staying there. It's not that big.
Yeah.
But the best part about it is that we have this big old yard. So I've been able to take my kids out there,
Yeah.
run, mess around, and it's cool. But at the same time, like I'm not that far from, some of the areas where there's like homeless encampments.
Oh,
So sometimes these people are like messed up, and they're on all kinds of fun
Weird
stuff,
shit.
weird shit.
Fuck.
So sometimes they start coming up to my area because like our area is not caged off for some reason.
Yeah.
So sometimes they come up, and I become like the local defender. Like
Yeah,
like
the
they're
neighborhood
like.
watch.
Well, cause like you guys
ranch?
know me,
Nah,
I
you
don't
got
speak a lot of
kids.
I don't really speak that much Spanish, so like
Yeah.
I buenas tardes, hi, yeah, and they that's it. They know I can't speak Spanish,
That's
but
it.
but lately they've been seeing me like now that I'm at home, I'm not at work.
Yeah.
I see like all the
They're
crap
like,
that's
step
going
up,
on.
motherfucker.
Yeah, no, like they see me like I'm out there. I'm like, hey, like I see someone coming up, all like I'm like
They call
like,
Orlando. Get Orlando. Get Orlando.
Oh,
he's
then.
back.
On tal pinche Orlando.
Oh, so
You know?
so people in the complex are like calling you like we need you to
Yeah.
come to our defense.
yeah.
No,
Any Karens?
I mean, I'm just. They don't even have to call me. I'm just sitting out there getting high, and then I'm just smoking my weed,
Pop
out
out
of
like
my
a
pen,
superhero.
Yeah,
you
he
know.
understands. So get him.
And then I see some crazier person. And I'm like, this is my chance not to look like such a scumbag. So I'm like,
Wow.
get out of here! This is our area.
Big old joint in your hand. Oh yeah, I can get high around here.
This is my poetry spot.
This is the no bum zone.
Fuck.
Nah, but like J-Rat.
There's only
like
room for
J-Rat
one
said,
bum around here.
Yeah.
And it ain't you. Yeah, that's why I don't invite you to my pad.
Nah.
You don't want the neighbors to think that he's in cahoots with the
Yeah,
people
you
living
know
Shit,
what
they
I
won't
mean?
even. They see me, they'll just call it one time. They'll be like, "Call the cops."
Nah.
We knew he was a scumbag. No, but you know what? Like J-Rat said, it's like, I don't know about you. My kid's already in school, and he was in second grade. This was a very interesting experience as to how and what happens when something like this takes hold.
Mm-hmm.
What happens to our educational system. And you know what? It didn't start out so smooth.
School's
but
like a gigantic waste of time, anyways. I mean, if you want my honest opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like,
You
at
don't
that
want to
age,
tell that
that's
to your
not-
kids when
Yeah.
they're fucking
No, I
in
won't
the
tell them
second
that.
grade.
You gonna have kids? You tell them that.
But I mean,
So look, here's the thing. Here's the dope thing, and this is why
I don't remember learning anything in school, dude. I
I'm
just
sure you don't, right?
learned shit. I
Well,
don't
you know how to
I-
read. You know how to count.
For sure, but I mean, like, that was just practice. I mean, like, you don't sit in the room and they go through shit and then you just know it. You got to practice it. You know what I'm saying?
But you still can't color inside the lines though.
Actually, I was
It is
going
true.
ham on this adult
I've seen him-
coloring
I've
book the other day.
I've seen him color. It's
I
not
was-
that good.
I was going to
He's got
town.
his tongue out.
I was mostly staying within the lines.
You
Mostly.
hold the pen like barbaric, like a joystick, like
like this.
crayon.
What were you
I
about to say?
color
Erza?
all one
Oh,
direction.
so I was gonna say.
That's how you're supposed to do it.
So I was
I
gonna
learned
say,
that in school.
like
That's about it.
the way the schools adapted to it was like, it was pretty spot on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There was still the class meetings and everything, but more importantly, at the end of it, it's what you do with your kid to enforce them to like do all this that they send
That's
home.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm saying. You know,
Schools, whatever, kids
even-
learn,
Yeah, but
you know.
it depends on the parent essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it does give you the curriculum to be able to give to your kid. And one thing I got to really do is see where my kid was fucking up and like what areas.
Oh, really?
I like because like like kids like they'll throw out a wrong answer and you think like what the fuck are you on, like how'd you get that, and like it's not random, like they're not just pulling a number out of their ass, like
Yeah.
there's obviously a step where they're calculating wrong,
Yeah.
and being able to like be there yourself to see and really like whip it into them like, hey, this is the right way to do it.
That is
Yeah.
true.
Because no, like as great as teachers are, they gotta go. They have classes up to 30 something kids. If you're LAUSD, almost up to 40 kids sometimes in a class.
That's true.
Mm,
Teaching
yeah.
is hard.
It's-
Teaching the public
Teachers don't.
the public
get enough.
education system is
for what they do.
fucking very taxing on those who
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
within
Well,
it.
I learned something with Ethan too. Like he was having issues paying attention in class. They even gave him
Yeah.
like a box,
Yep, same
like,
with
with
Isaiah,
toys
dude.
and stuff.
Yeah, the same
It's
issues.
like fidget toys. And
Fidget toys. They just told me to shut the fuck up.
yeah, well they can't do that anymore. So anyway,
You know what's funny? It's
Ain't it
quick
a damn
story.
shame?
When my mom told me this. When I was in the second grade, allegedly, according to my mother, on the parent teacher conference, my teacher recommended to my father that they put me on Ritalin,
Oh shit.
and my dad was like, "Fuck you."
Yeah. I thought they were gonna go there
kid.
with Ethan because
Yeah.
when they told me about the box, they had the
I
principal
said,
there.
"Damn, I could have had the good shit." Thanks, Dad.
But so I thought
Look
they
what
were
you
gonna
done
go
to
there.
me.
They didn't end up going there. But what I did learn was Ethan when it comes to like sitting still and shit like that. When he would do Zoom with the class with the teacher and everything, he would start to kind of like want to like play around or mess around or whatever, or he wasn't listening
Yeah.
or he was trying to pay attention. And with me being there, I was just like, Ethan, what are you doing? Or I just have to look at him just kind of like, hey,
Yeah,
get his
yeah.
attention. And we're like, oh,
But I mean, imagine. I mean, but what are you gonna do? Do it the whole time? He's gonna go back to school eventually.
well, that's why I was saying like it kind of benefited him doing it at home
sure.
rather than being.
Maybe they should do it
yeah.
like that. But then
Yeah.
you gotta go to work.
Well, here's
Yeah.
here's
Well,
the
that's
thing
the
about
perfect storm.
That's the thing.
I don't know. I don't know about your kid's school, but with Isaiah, like they've like hit their school's already hit us up because he goes to a charter school, and at a great school. They already hit us up and they're like, hey, how do you want to do it? Because we're approaching 2 different ways. Either you do 5 days a week, half day schedule, so you're there for 4 hours, like 8.
And what grade is this
8
for?
to 11. This
This
the
is for
school.
all grades.
Oh, okay.
This
Like
school,
most schools.
this school goes
When is he
from
gonna
like
go back to
kindergarten
school?
8th. They go back like probably like
September?
late August.
Yeah.
Oh, so they are gonna go back. No.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but then so they gave us that this
That's gonna be fucking
ultimatum.
crazy,
Either you
dude.
could do it 5 days at half day, or you do 2 days full day, and then the rest of the week they do it at home.
Mhm.
So
Damn.
What is your whole thought on this this coronavirus, Jrat?
Man, it's there's a lot of things about
You're
it. I
hearing
don't
c-
feel like it's what they're telling us. I feel like the
Yeah.
media is always gonna lie to you.
Yeah, or at
I
least
was
not
saying,
at
you know,
least only give you a shade of the
misinform
truth.
you.
Yeah.
They give you
They
one
will-
shade.
Because
of the
I hear
truth.
there's people who are like adamant that like this is fucking bullshit. It's this is some sort of like oppression. To make that you have to wear a mask. And be careful and wash your hands and shit. Even though people should have been doing that already.
Mhm.
But like people are so angry that they're putting these restrictions, and like some people don't even believe it's real.
I mean,
yeah, that's the crazy
but
thing.
talk to the people that like are fucking dying from this shit.
Yeah,
those people's families. And
I
shit.
know someone sort of like, someone I know their relative died and they got it and they like it killed them very quickly.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
Were they
And I-
older? Were they older?
they were older.
Mhm.
But they weren't on their deathbed. You know what I'm saying? Like they
Right.
had plenty to go. And this family that I've known forever. So I have no reason to believe that they would lie about it. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know where the confusion comes from.
So the thing about that is like if you think about it, this person had they still look like they had life in them. They didn't have that many like deadly
Yeah.
pre
immune
diseases and shit.
compromise they call it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, you see that, and then you see that this thing that this virus it just takes them out, and but it's only like targeting like the older people. I mean, like
Right.
I know that there is some kind of fucking germ out there that
Right.
that is fucking causing like some I know that what they're saying is really like fucking something
Well,
going
so
on.
what they're
Like,
saying-
there's really a fucking virus out there killing people, but it's
Mhm.
not as severe as how the media is trying to scare us. And then it's
I
another
think-
way to use it to scare the
Fearmonger, as they say.
Right.
I think what it is, as far as why they're really coming down and like on full social distancing and all those things, is it's not so much that a lot of people are gonna die; it's that it's very contagious and easily spreadable.
Yeah.
So if we get it, we'll probably be fine. But we could pass it on to somebody.
Right.
To someone
right.
who does have because it's
who
the
you
thing
know,
is-
and that's how the numbers are
See,
gonna rise. It's
here's-
not that
here's
people
the,
are just dropping dead.
So
It's not the bubonic plague.
so that's
No,
that's
yeah.
what I'm saying. Like people don't want to do it unless it's to protect themselves. Now that they know
Right.
it's to protect other people and not
Then they're like, what
themselves,
the fuck?
they don't give
Yeah.
a fuck. And
But
a lot
I
of
mean,
them
like,
are them Trump
I f-
fucking supporting pieces of shit
For sure.
anyway that are trying to like claim that this is a fucking hoax. This is my American right.
Yeah. All of a sudden they care about
Yeah.
rights. Yeah, I don't know. It's all very. We were talking about it last time. It's all very confusing, and like everyone's so fucking riled up. Like everybody on both sides, people are fired the fuck up, and it's
Right.
like
well, you know what the thing
it's
is. You know one thing about
it's
it.
tense, bro. Honestly,
I think one reason that people
sometimes
are
I get a little. Sorry.
No, you're good. I'm sorry. I didn't
No,
mean
I was just like, it's just tense. Like
Yeah.
sometimes it's a little overwhelming to think about. Like I'm in my own world sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, you forget about it, but it's
So-
fucking happening.
So one of my takes as to why like it's gotten like to the point where people are just at this like boiling point, you know. It's one thing when everyone's caring about their daily lives, they don't have time to pay attention, and like you know like I can't worry about that. I have work, I have my kids, this and that, blah blah whatever. Now everyone's at home, everybody's at home because they have no other choice but to be,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
And everyone's still very scared to go out. A lot of unless you're one of the people that's like whatever, it's not that real or whatever, you know.
So the
if
people
you're an idiot,
spreading it.
if you're a fucking idiot, then you know
Right.
you're pretty much still quarantining at home. So everyone is forced to look on their phones and see all the updates coming, all the videos coming in, all this fucked up shit that's happening. You know, like.
Well, I mean, they're
like,
not forced, but they
not-
have
they're
no
not
they have
forced.
no other thing to do. But they're just
Right.
Well, at a
at
certain
home. They're
po-
not working,
at a- well-
occupying their minds. With
Well,
something
at a
else.
certain point, it is kind of like they're forced to because people are so like you know connected and you know infatuated with their social media, and at a time where now it's being pumped in to your feed like crazy because everyone is now talking about it. You kind of are forced to just face the situation. You know,
Right.
It's not easy to turn away and try to change the topic.
Right.
You know,
right.
everyone is posting about it, and
Right.
you know, I mean, it's great to see. You know, it makes you wonder how much more we could have gotten done if
Right.
when everything started happening. I used to protest big. I was at the occupation throughout the 2 months it was there, and it was a beautiful movement. But a lot of times you try to get people to like understand where
Some people
where,
are just
you
in
know,
it for the hype and like
That
because
is-
it
and-
feels
yeah.
good to get out there and get
absolutely,
released out.
yeah, you know, but oh my bad.
Yeah.
So you know what I was saying.
Dude, I was watching you. I was watching you. I was watching you push it closer and closer, and as you're pushing it, Orlando's like,
Hey man, I'm high. I felt like it was too close. Like, you know, it was too close. I'm trying to social distance
Because
from the
it's
microphone.
funny because like you're still getting picked up pretty good because you have a
Yeah.
loud voice, but still.
No, so okay. So anyway, you know,
Motherfucker.
right now, I you know, being someone who's you know protested for almost the better part of a decade, you know, now I have kids and I have my mom who does have a higher risk, and my nephew, which you know, my nephew's you know he's young, but he has asthma.
"No, yeah."
You know, so to me, it's like I can't do it that way. I can contribute my money. I can like you know protest where I can. I mean like you know like put stuff online where I can. You know, keep people informed. You know, things I learned at the occupation, how to like stay safe, whatever. You know, I can you know try to be useful in other ways. But going out there, right, especially while we're in
There's
the
a
second
pandemic.
wave of a pandemic, you know, it's
Oh,
too
yeah,
risky.
for
and
sure.
the
And-
next wave is already starting because of
It's
all the
starting to go back
protests
up.
Yep.
Yeah.
from
But
you know,
also,
that,
too,
when they
also,
first
too,
started.
It makes
A
you
lot
know,
more people are getting tested, so a lot more people are actually getting a lot more data is actually getting collected now. Who actually has it?
Yeah.
Before it was hard to get a test.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's all very
And then you know,
overwhelming.
yeah, I mean,
You know,
I think that all of this shit is happening for a couple reasons. Which
well, the election's
one is
coming
like,
up. That you know, that's
well,
yeah.
that's one of the reasons.
seems
There-
obvious.
And fucking population control is another global population control because
oh shit.
they don't. You know,
I was just talking
go.
to Stanley about this, and I said, after the Black Plague or the bubonic plague, whichever one came last, and it wiped out like 60% of the world.
Mhm.
Like low key, like the human race started to like super thrive after that.
Yeah.
Like there was like an abundance of like resources and this and that, and people got taller. Like the human being, like literally, like the average height went up.
Well, think about it like this: if you have a fucking goldfish in a little fucking
For
little
sure.
cup, it's
Mhm.
gonna remain small. You
Right.
put that goldfish in a pond, it's just
And it
gonna
gets
be
bigger.
huge. So you're
Yeah.
as
Why does
as
the thought of a
large.
giant goldfish like scare me? Like to see, I'd be like, ah!
What- is it, what,
Like it would be like a because
'cause
you know
that
you're
shit'll
used to
probably-
goldfish being small. You know,
you think it's gonna eat you because goldfish?
I'm
fucking
thinking
eat
huge, like a
anything,
tuna. You know,
Yeah. Like a koi fish?
You're talking a 300-pound lion against a
Fuck.
2-ton.
That's a
I'm
big.
talking about like fighting them on the fucking ocean, like having. Oh, deep sea goldfish. Anyways.
Oh yeah, but yeah, the next thing that you gotta worry about now is like not the COVID. It's fucking racial fucking hate crimes and shit. You know, like and now and even more so, I feel like they're even trying to, because there's some areas that these the white supremacists they really can't infiltrate. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So what they're doing is they're causing ruckus on social media and shit, causing more racial tension.
Yeah.
Just like how
now,
people got mad. I'm telling you. Just like how people got mad when I was reading some people's comments getting mad when Boyle Heights had that march for children in cages,
right?
And
people
were all mad and saying like, "Oh yeah, where were you when this first started?" I'm like, "Well, fuck, now is the time to take action."
It's almost like when you're into a band, like people get snooty about their causes or about like what meant something to them. Because like there is a coolness in it being like sort of exclusive or kind of underground or kind of like you're the first one to really push it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think when things do go quote unquote mainstream, including issues, I guess there's always going to be those people who are like, well, I was there first, and they get resentful for some reason.
Yeah. It's like inevitable.
I noticed that a lot amongst people who are really into music. And then when they like a band, and then their band goes mainstream, they hear them on the radio. People are into them. People get I was fucking listening to them back.
You kind of stop liking them a little bit too.
Yeah, you kind of stop liking them. Like, I don't really care anymore. Like
too many people like them.
You know who I used to listen to? And they blew up, but I used to listen to them before they blew up, right?
Black Keys.
It was the Black Keys. And I used to love the fucking Black Keys because they used to just play like dirty like blues, and like I liked blues as a teenager, and it was hard to get contemporary blues, like blues from like, you didn't have to fucking go to the 60s or the 70s.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Something.
So it was something new, but it was like my style. So I was like, oh, this is dope. And then they came out with Brothers, and then Brothers, they got on the radio, and they started to, and there was a part of me that started to get a little like, the new Black Key sucks, and like their old shit's better, and everyone's on. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But you know what? I think that happens. Like
you still agree with it for a little bit.
I felt the same way with Brothers. Because but the thing is, you go from a gritty two piece combo with like
to like
dirty
more,
blues.
it was definitely more radio friendly,
and it was more popped.
Yeah,
there was more
radio
pop
friendly.
to it.
Because the early Black Key shit is like almost lo-fi, like it's much. Like minimalist music almost, but fucking sick.
So at a certain point, and it's just part of being a musician and part of like getting in that big of a that when you get that big in the game, it becomes a thing where you have to realize you're gonna change your style. You can only write so much of the same stuff. Maybe that's all they had in them to write on that in that category. They had 3 albums before they blew up.
I think when it comes down to it, it's all about money. Because the people that are paying you are the ones that are telling you what to write about. When they get that big,
for sure,
you lose your fucking creative freedom and shit. You become part of a label.
Somebody say that Prince wanted to work with them. I forget who they were, but they said Prince wanted to work with them, but Prince refused to work with them until that artist owned their own masters. And I think the rule of thumb now is that if you don't own your masters, then you don't own shit. Then you do nothing.
Yeah.
Then you're just working for the man.
Right. You're just working for that fucking that signing bonus.
That paycheck.
So the masters is like the original track. Or what is?
Yeah, the masters is just.
If you own the masters, you own the rights to it.
You own the rights to it. So like, if someone covers it or someone uses it in a movie or whatever, you get the royalties, you get the money.
Oh, okay.
You know what I was watching the other day?
Didn't want.
The other day, it's been on during quarantine. Ray, Ray Charles, the one with Jamie Foxx. Yeah. So when he gets his deal, when he leaves, what was it? When he leaves Atlantic, I believe I could be wrong. I am high.
And he goes to ABC.
He goes to ABC,
and he's like, I want to own my own masters.
Yeah, and they're like, no one gets that. Like Sinatra doesn't even get that. you know.
And he's like, yeah, fucking Ray Charles blows Sinatra out of the water. First
Oh
off.
yeah, well absolutely. But I'm saying that was that was the line.
I never liked old blue ass.
Oh what? No, I can't say that. But that's what they told him at ABC. They're like, that's crazy. Like no one gets that. Like Sinatra doesn't even get that.
Yeah.
He was like, yo, like
there's a rap on Sinatra that I read.
You know, that's what it is.
I read this book about this baseball player. I may have told you guys before. It was a book I read about a baseball player. He was a professional baseball player. He played for the Yankees in the 60s, like the early to mid 60s. He played for and his name was Joe Pepitone. And this is an autobiography about his life and all the shit that happened to him. And it's a very interesting book. And it's not that long either. Anyways, he tells a story of when, he was a Yankee and he was hanging out with famous people and celebrities, and he was hanging out with Frank Sinatra. So he goes, so a lot of those Rat Pack guys were known for going to Palm Springs a lot to like party and be with their mistresses and shit. And now Palm Springs is kind of known as like for like old people.
Yeah, it's like
back then it was. You know what I hear why they used to like to go to Palm Springs? Because you could go and party. But it's only 2 hours away from LA as opposed to Vegas, which is like 5 hours. It's just a shorter, because they have to get back. Anyways, he tells a story about Sinatra. Sinatra has a dinner party, right? And there's chicks there and he's there, and it very exclusive, right? So Sinatra would totally control the party though. Like they would be at dinner, everyone would be at dinner, everyone would eat and drink and this and that. And then Frank would be like, okay, everyone, we're moving into the parlor. And everyone would get up and, upon Frank's instructions, they move to the parlor. Now they're playing pool and they're having after dinner drinks and this and that. And then Frank goes, okay, everyone, we're going into the other room and we're going to listen to music, right? So allegedly, Frank Sinatra used to make people go into this room in his dinner parties, and he would put opera on. Like vinyls of opera. And everyone would have to sit down and he would put it on and he would conduct.
Wow.
In front of everybody. And everyone would just sit there and like have to just sit there, because it was rude,
to walk out.
So
on the
this
show.
guy's like, he would always do this, he was just an egomaniac, center of attention kind of guy.
Yeah.
And so he goes, the thing is half the people in there didn't even I didn't like opera. Joe Pepitone talking. I didn't like fucking opera,
Yeah.
He goes, so they would turn off the lights, so it was real dark, right? And or whatever dim lights they had, and he would be conducting. So he says that he's sitting on the couch next to this other guy, and everyone's just like sitting there, just like waiting for it to be over. So allegedly, this guy who he was with hung out with Frank Sinatra a lot more than he did. So he would do it all the time. So he was like going crazy, like I can't do one more night. I'm sitting here listening to opera, right? So allegedly the guy sitting next to Joe Pepitone, he shrivels down like onto the floor, and then he starts crawling to the door, right? So he's crawling quietly in the dark. He's crawling, trying not to be noticed, and he reaches for the doorknob. And as soon as he reaches for the doorknob, the lights go up. Right? What? And he looks up, and Frank Sinatra has a gun, a 6-shooter in his face. And he goes, get back to the couch, Johnny. And he's like, Frank, please, sit down. And he got up, and he walked back to the couch, and he sat down. That's my favorite Frank Sinatra.
That sounds...
I don't like Frank. Yeah. But I wasn't into his music.
That is a pretty great Frank Sinatra story.
That's funny.
The book's called Joe, You Could Have Made Us Proud. It's a good book. You can buy it on Amazon.
Joe Pepitone.
New York Yankees.
Damn.
Anyway,
know, right?
We kind of got on a tangent though. Back to the issues. I was saying how it's funny how people they get resentful when you sort of move on, or when it gets mainstream, what I'm saying, and how it happens in music, but that seems to carry over in social issues, but I mean, isn't it, especially with social issues, isn't it? It's like, well, where were you last year?
Right.
It's like, well, I'm here now. We
That's
can't all be woke at the same
well,
time.
I think now more so is that people have time. They're not at work.
I said it's a perfect fucking storm. People are pissed off. Everyone's don't have a job, and they got a whole lot of time to maintain. Back, when Orlando was doing his thing, and I think a lot of protests, you get traction, but then Monday morning comes along.
You gotta go to work.
I gotta go to work though.
You still gotta pay those
bills.
bills.
But shit, I gotta.
Yeah.
Right, and that's that's why I mean that's why now more so people are standing up for the social injustice
For
and,
sure.
and like
but with as many
killings
people
of
standing up
innocent
to it,
people.
there's a lot of people standing,
Against it.
in the opposition to it. And I don't know, it's weird. I don't know. I'm not used to like such. I'm not used to like people like especially white people that's openly like
being
hating,
racist,
like,
blatantly showing their
like,
racism.
like being racist.
Yeah, or
I'm used to like everyone else being kind of racist, but I feel like in LA especially like white people are are just like, wow, we're just gonna stay over here.
Nah,
saying
man,
anything.
dude, you
You know
work
what?
at the music center
Well,
for how
you know-
many years, and you're just
I
gonna tell me
mean-
that white people don't act
But-
racist?
yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
Get the
Yeah,
fuck
hell
out
yeah.
of here,
88.
man.
I used to do
Absolutely.
88. We all used to do 88, actually, right? You help the people in the wheelchairs. The people getting in are mostly older, well-to-do white folk, right?
Fucking old ass baby boomers, like
Right.
the older baby
Are
boomers.
are even fucking, what were they called, the one before that? The silent generation? I'm not sure. I think that's a fact.
yeah,
The silent
the
films.
silent generation. Yeah.
I don't fucking
Okay.
But
So
no,
anyway.
but I used to do 88, and some of them were snooty, but they weren't. They looked down on me, I suppose. But I mean, didn't feel
Exactly.
racist. It just felt like I was poor and they were rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never felt
And-
singled out because I was brown or Mexican.
Yeah, but the whole thing about it is that there's more brown and Mexican, black, brown, Mexican people that are, the poor, because
Right.
the
Mhm.
system is not there to favor them.
Right.
It's there to work
For
if you're
sure.
smart enough to know how
If
to
you
play
go
ball.
to a rich
know.
neighborhood, it's always predominantly white people. And then you
Yeah.
sprinkle in, whatever
The few that wean
whatever
themselves
that,
in.
and there's always, some minorities in there that if you talk to them, they're not too far removed from making it the hell out of fucking tremendous poverty. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe one or two generations.
But then
Right.
again, like with a system like this, you have people like look at Candace Owens, man. Like that is one human being I just do not understand, man.
Is that
That's
that's
an
a black
idiot.
woman,
yeah,
right? Yeah, I saw a video
who's
of
like
that.
a modern day fucking Uncle Tom, like preaching how like like
I saw
with George
pretty-
Floyd,
I
like
saw-
with the whole George Floyd
Yeah.
thing, she released statements
That shit
saying
was
like,
bull-
oh,
that
he
shit
was
was
a
fucked
criminal, he had priors and stuff. I don't okay, so he was.
There's a lot of
he-
people who are
he-
fucking criminals and have priors.
Yeah, exactly.
Should we all kill them?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
so look at as far as it goes, this is what I seen. This is my perspective of how it went. George Floyd, a black male, walked in and tried to cash a fake check. It's a pandemic. He has a daughter. Can you really blame the guy for trying to get a little extra money in a system that like he doesn't have that much of?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
come on, like in the stimulus, like how many people that were already like well class, rich,
Yeah.
got millions of dollars still
Jim-
somehow because their millions weren't enough.
Jim
You
Baker is a TV evangelist. He gets on TV
Yeah.
Sundays and he preaches the word of God and prays on old people mostly and gets their money. Give your
Yeah,
money because
right.
God needs it. He went to jail. He did hard time for defrauding, for taking that money and using it. He defrauded a charity organization or defrauding an organization or whatever,
Yeah.
right? He was convicted. He was convicted of it. That means they had proof. And they could prove that he fucking scammed everybody, right?
Yeah.
He did his time. He got out. You know where he's at? He's right back on fucking TV, raking in all that cash again,
Jeez.
like nothing.
Damn.
And
Hey,
so he's
Yeah.
so
You know,
that
hey,
means
I'ma
that
tell
means
you.
Jim Baker is a criminal, and he has priors. So if someone sat on his neck and let him die in the street, would they
You-
be like, well, he had priors? So
no,
fuck
man,
him.
you
Actually, I think a lot of people would say
you
that.
forgot to mention the main factor. He's white.
Well, yeah, he's white. I guess.
But that's the
I
only-
thought that was implied, but
That's the only reason why, dude. Like,
well, right, exactly.
that he can get out of jail and get back to the same position. You think if like
the
Reverend
thing-
Al Sharpton
yeah.
went to jail, you know what I mean, and then got
Yeah.
out, he would still be looked at the same way. I mean,
But see, I see all like big time like religious leaders, black or white, as kind of frauds, honestly, or as manipulators at least. Oops, I shouldn't have said that.
Nah, man, I feel the same way. Anybody that's somebody preaching on TV about the ministries or any kind of religion is definitely in it for the money, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Why's the pastor gotta have a nice house?
Right.
Why's the pastor gotta have a nice car?
Don't ask
questions.
Don't ask.
I mean, right now in like this state, you know, like that's another. It's even more of a reason to pray on people because everybody's like, oh shit, I'm gonna fucking die of the coronavirus. I better find Jesus. I better find this.
And you know,
it's even more so people are easier to fall into the manipulation.
And I'm not anti-religion. I believe, you know, religion as like a sort of as a belief system and as like a way to like check your quote unquote moral compass, you know, and have like a set sort of these standards. I think that's fine. You know, speaking personally, you know, my mom had a lot of issues growing up and into her young adulthood, and when we were young, she was very religious. We were very religious. And when I got older, I said like, Mom, like, what was with all that? You know, and she still is, but you know, I didn't really take to me, but she still is somewhat religious. And she said, you know what? I was so fucked up that I just needed that much like discipline and that much this and that. And so like, religion helped my mom better her life and give me a better life, right? And this and that, pass it on. So in that sense, I'm not against it. It's like you said, it's the people who manipulate. And
that's the whole point. Yeah.
Any religion you go to, there's always one of the people in power, you know, a priest or whatever, whoever runs the church, and it's like, you fucking molested me, or you fucking defrauding all the old ladies, you know, like for their money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know?
Especially the Catholic
and
Church.
it invalidates the whole, and it invalidates the whole thing. You know what I'm saying?
It's just with the thing with religion, it's a power in belief. There's a great power in belief. And you know, it's about the people. You know, some people are fucking pieces of shit and they go to church. You know, then there's other people like your mom who like use that good feeling of like believing in, you know, your father looking down on you and saying, hey, like my father's up in heaven is watching me and I should like do this and live my best life and like give my kids everything. But you know, at the end of it, that's just the testament of who you are and what that belief empowers you to do. You know, because, you know, like I said, there's people that go to church and they, you know, put their cap on afterwards and they're back to being a piece of shit in the real world.
They only go to church to help them feel like less of pieces of shit.
Or because they think it's going to get
some people.
Now,
I'm not saying everybody.
Yeah, no. Yeah, absolutely.
You know.
Some people, I think, like, you know, they're pieces of shit that just want to be saved. When everything goes down, they don't want to be left out of the equation. Because they believe that something is real. They're just not committed to the idea of anything other than, well, I'm gonna stay alive, right? I'm surviving this,
every time
right?
I get into religion, I always think of that Simpsons episode where Homer stops going to church. Yeah. And Lisa goes, Dad, like, what if you're wrong? Like, what if you're doing is wrong? And he goes, then I'll repent on my deathbed. So, yeah, what a big deal. Or like when he's trying to like justify why he doesn't want to go to church anymore, and like him and Marge are going back and forth. He goes, look, Marge. He goes, we don't know what the fuck's going on. How do we know we're even in the right religion? What if we're in the wrong religion? That means every week we go to church and we make God matter and matter and matter.
Fucking Homer.
Yeah, Homer, dude. That's the Tao. Homer, Tao of Homer, dude.
Tao of Homer.
The tattoo.
Homer. Oh, yeah, look at American Bonehead.
Oh, nice.
Oh, you haven't seen that?
Nah.
Yeah, my new one.
All right. Sweet.
Anyways, damn, we're already on an hour. Fucking.
I did want to bring up something real quick. You know, now that we got Orlan and Jrat in, so
know that there could be a rabbit hole with these two.
Yeah, it might. Hopefully, we could do it in the next like 15 minutes.
Yeah, whatever. You're gonna fucking listen. Well, you ain't going nowhere.
Point a gun at them.
So I don't know if you guys heard,
for the door.
but we've been getting in the past week or so. We've been getting like random signals from space.
Oh, right? I did it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
they're like bursts. They only last a few seconds, and they show up every.
It's happened before, but we're getting a lot as of late.
Yeah, we're getting way more frequently now.
Yeah, because I remember this is the same one that occurred like every 15 minutes
Yeah.
for like a couple of months and shit.
Yeah, and then
like,
they only
a while
last like a
back.
few seconds. Anyway, so that's been happening, and then a couple days ago, I think at the beginning of this last week, cell phone service went down.
Right.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of fucking
Yeah.
cell phone
Yo.
and
That happened.
internet was going out.
Yeah.
The
So-
T-Mobile towers went out for a day.
Yeah.
Your shit went out.
Yeah.
Our fucking spectrum was shoddy on a whole,
Yeah.
on a totally
The
different.
Yeah.
next day. So one day it was like my cell phone wasn't working. Then the next day, right after that, my internet at
Yeah,
home
Yeah.
same
wasn't
thing.
working.
Yeah.
And when I called the internet, we called Spectrum. They were telling us that they were doing service on a tower around my area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're fucking telling me that,
Yeah, it
That
happened
same
over
shit
here.
happened
And
over
we live
here.
far as fuck from each
right?
other.
Yeah.
You know what's funny
Sounds
too is
weird.
you didn't even mention that, and when my shit went down, and then you said your shit went down,
Yeah.
and then I said then the house internet went down. What did I say?
You're,
I said, dude, fucking aliens.
yes, aliens, and then
And
I was
you know
like,
why?
damn.
I'm like,
Yo.
why? And I'm like,
aliens, man.
fucking towers that service thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of people. They don't just go down. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like these fools,
And what I told him, I go, perfect example. Remember the movie Independence Day?
Yeah.
And how like back then they didn't have cell phones, but in the movie it was cable, so the cable network went out.
Yeah,
and, they were,
Yeah.
and then
that's
the
right.
engineer who discovered that it was actually aliens disrupting the connection to
Jeff
the satellites. He was saying, he said, oh, they're attacking our telecommunications, and he tried to get to the White House. So I told him, I was like, damn, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to take out. our
yeah, they're trying to take out our
man.
communications. Dude.
Because why? Because fucking that's the only thing keeping us connected right now. Like
George Carlin said it. He goes, we pat ourselves on the back as human beings. Like, we've come so fucking far. Like, we're so fucking great. He goes, one thing has to happen and one thing only. He goes, cut out all the electricity. Cut off our access to electricity. Boom, we're back in the motherfucking Stone Age. Go nuts.
what if, what if these aliens got a EMP and just bust it all over
The thing about aliens
Earth?
is that if aliens make it to Earth, right? Unless they're coming to like rid us of our, to take all our resources and then just like rid us, get rid of us.
What if they're coming back? They've already been here. They've
coming back?
helped create us, and we've been the slaves on this big ass fucking
But what are we
Sims.
doing? Like, we don't do shit.
harvesting gold, man.
Are
This
we
is-
harvesting gold? I haven't.
Well, everyone
yeah.
hoards gold.
Now we
Do we hoard gold?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't hoard
We
gold.
The government-
specifically don't.
Yeah,
we broke.
We're too poor.
Why you think fucking they make rappers wear gold chains and shit like that? Why you think gold is so glorified? What does it do for the human body? Nothing. All it does is just says that you have a fucking higher social status, or you got some bank to pay for it.
It's
But
heavy.
it's in your phone. It's in the computers. It's in microchips.
Oh, it's in my phone? I
It's
have gold
in,
in my
Yeah.
phone?
Holy
it's
shit.
in
Conductor.
everything that we
Take that
fucking
apart right now.
We
I need some
need
gold.
for. It's the
Go
best
mining.
conductor of electricity. So I mean, like, there's old stories about fucking Enki and Enlil coming, the Anunnaki gods from Sumeria.
Uh-huh.
Oh shit, you're getting.
They fucking, there's a theory that
This ain't no rabbit hole. This is a black hole.
the whole story of God and all of that is
Mhm.
basically them creating us from Homo
Yep.
Homo erectus to like
And no
that
Neanderthal?
that missing link where
Uh-huh.
he created a DNA with us and his own.
Where does the missing link fall? Because like Homo sapiens
Mhm.
are Homo erectus and Neanderthal. They made and they gave birth to us.
That's
So
what
at
they
what?
say.
So yeah, that's what they say.
And then it's Homo sapien sapien.
Yeah.
What's a Homo sapien?
That's the more advanced version of Homo sapien,
Which is what we are.
which we are. I
We are
think.
Homo sapien. Yeah, but
But we are.
we're
Homo,
at-
But so no, a Homo sapien doesn't exist.
We're human.
We're human.
So we derive it. It went from supposedly Australopithecus, I
Uh-huh.
think, to fucking Homo erectus,
Okay.
and then Homo sapien, and then Homo sapien sapien,
Which is what a human is.
which is like what we've closest to what we've
Super
evolved
sapien.
to.
yeah.
So we're above
Super sapien.
sapien. So humans are a step
Super
above
sapien.
Homo
I
sapien.
think no. Homo sapien sapien. That's what humans is. I think that's what humans are.
Okay. Huh. Interesting.
And then we have this like eclipse, this like red eclipse that's coming up on the 20th.
Dude,
or
did you guys
21st.
see? Did
What
you
is
guys see the blood moon?
didn't see
like
that.
a week ago.
What did you
I
say?
didn't
Red
Weeks ago?
eclipse?
So, yeah, there's this red
So-
eclipse
so
that's going to
was-
show up on
so
like the
was-
21st of this month.
Powerful.
And I don't know. I guess so. The reflection off the moon when it eclipses the sun it's gonna be like red.
Red eclipse.
Red eclipse. Yeah, red
I
eclipse.
thought you said red eclipse.
Like
like
ready to go.
Like
clips?
ready.
Like clips.
Oh,
that
red.
are ready
No,
to
no.
go?
Red
I'm like,
eclipse.
what? Like clips that are ready to
Yeah.
go?
So
Yeah, the ready clips.
so
red
there-
eclipse.
there's a theory that the Mayans
You
that we
put this
read their
pen down.
calendar wrong, and
Oh.
the actual year wasn't 2012, and then they did the math correctly, and it's 2020, 2020 June 21st. Is what
And
they
that's
said.
when.
And that's when that eclipse is gonna happen.
And when was
Wow.
when was the one in 2012? What day did that know?
I don't remember, but I know it was around this time sometime.
Wasn't it like December?
Oh, no, it was
yeah,
December, actually.
December.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
December, yeah.
December something.
Yeah.
But
December
2012.
8th.
Something like that. I don't remember
This is
but I
December
do remember it
9th.
was 2012. That's what I remember the year. And they're saying that we just
Who's
misinterpreted.
they?
Well,
I don't
it's
know,
not
fucking
12,
scientists.
December 12.
It's a theory. I don't know.
December 12th.
Where did you read this at?
2012.
Just like on fucking Instagram and fucking.
Man, fuck, man, I
iFunny.
think you're getting this straight from NASA and shit.
I'm
I'm all
entertaining
getting
the
scared,
idea.
motherfucker.
Why are you getting scared?
Because
I said
you
it's a
scary.
theory.
That's why it's called the wormhole, baby. 'Cause you don't know what bugs in there.
Shit. I don't know. You guys should come back on. We should pick some like real like rabbit hole
I'm
topics.
down.
Damn.
And you fools come back.
It might have to be a special marathon, Reverend Filo.
No, we need to like
Like
prepare.
series.
Like
Yeah,
we need to like prep and like
Alright.
call each other on the phone and like be like, okay, what are some things we could talk about? And then
Yeah.
that
Wow,
way,
you mean like actual?
yeah. Normally we're
podcasts
just
do?
fucking yeah.
Hey, the
Well, I
things
mean,
that
like
podcasts
today we
supposed
just
to
we
do.
didn't have today we just fucking
were
shot
just
from the
like-
hip.
We were like, yay, friends.
Yeah.
Hey man, it's exciting to
man.
be out. Though,
I actually
Yeah, for
did.
real.
I
It
actually
feels good
did
just
did
to
write a bunch of shit down, but I forgot
Not
my
see people over
notebook.
screen. Yeah, it did happen.
Yeah. No, yeah, and honestly, J-Rod, I haven't seen you in a minute.
Man, it's been a while.
Yeah,
I feel like you lost some weight.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Nah, actually, I went up in weight, but I have been eating low cal like shit.
Oh, okay.
So I've been like staying under like 2
Eating
years.
low cal and so cal.
Yeah.
You should start that slogan, dude.
Low cal and so cal.
Low cal and so cal. No.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Oh fuck. Anyways, I don't know. Felipe, you take it. I'm faded. You end the show.
Damn. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for showing up. J-Rad, Orlando.
Yeah, man.
Good to see you guys again. Hopefully, we can
dope.
see you
It's been
guys
real.
after the 21st, after this eclipse, if we don't.
Oh shit.
If the world doesn't end.
I forgot about it already. Why'd you have to bring it up?
If it's not like fucking Infinity Wars and shit like that.
That would be cool. That I'd be down for.
Damn. And there's an Iron
Johnny
Man
gets
secretly
snapped away.
somewhere.
Fuck, that would be so dope.
In actuality, all of the pigs are gonna just go crazy and fucking start committing more police brutality. That's what's
You
gonna
know,
happen.
I had someone I knew who was like into like tarot card reading and like that kind of shit. People who could tell the future.
Esoteric.
Yeah.
Hysteric,
She said
esoteric.
either right as Trump became president or right before, if he might become president, or right before he became president. She said that someone she knew who was like like a fortune teller or whatever.
Mm.
She said Trump would be the last U.S. president. That's what she said.
Mm.
And I don't know. A lot has just been going down. Maybe I'm just older and like more in tune with like political climate because I'm becoming more of an adult and it does affect me. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I don't know. Or maybe shit is really
Well,
going to fucking hay in a handbasket.
a lot of people-
Shit in a handbasket. What is it?
Well, a lot of people were saying
Fuck, I don't even
That-
Shit in the hay in a handbasket?
shit in the fan.
Shit in the fan?
Shit in the
Maybe shit
fan.
shit is
Shit
hitting
is hitting the
Shit,
fan.
shit.
There was a lot that
just-
just got
just-
slammed in.
But a
here
lot
and
of
there.
people did say that about Obama too. There's like these
Oh, God.
Mexican psychic readers or psych.
Mhm.
They're like on TV or
That
Facebook
Obama
or
was
shit
like the
that.
anti-
Shit.
And that- yeah,
they saw a
Obama
black
was
man
like
take
that
power.
guy.
They were like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
we're done."
So it's always said every president's the last fucking president.
They said Ronald Reagan was the Antichrist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
The
mean,
actor?
who fucking says he's not? Like he wasn't.
Well, he's dead now.
That's why. Who says he wasn't?
Maybe they stopped him.
He wasn't once.
Maybe Kobe was the final Illuminati sacrifice, and now it's just they're just letting.
Fuck. Now you're going too far,
All
man.
right, let's end it there.
Now you're going too far. Hey,
I
you
mean,
know what?
look, it 20,
Stop it.
I said it on the last podcast. Ever since Kobe died, shit has just been
Hey.
snowballing. Like I don't think we've recovered.
No,
Nah.
we
At
didn't
least
even
here in
have the
LA.
chance to fully grieve.
Yeah,
You know, like fuck.
like a mask. Everybody.
I can't breathe. You know, it's funny.
I can't breathe.
Wash my hands.
We're all screaming. I know.
The fuck is soap?
Yo,
Gloves.
you
Like
know,
a baseball mitt.
you know how like this is the last thing I want to say. You know how like George Floyd was suffocated by
Yes.
this police officer for 8 minutes and 24 seconds,
Right.
right? You know,
36 seconds.
it was it.
8:36.
Oh no, 46.
46.
It was a
8
little
minutes
under
and 46.
9, yeah, like a
I'm
little
sorry.
under
8
9
minutes and
minutes.
46 seconds, right? So like I added up all the numbers, right? What is it? If you add up all of the numbers, is 18. Divide that by 3. 666, man. It's the number of the beast, man. But it's not the beast
Wait.
that way you think it is. It's
Wait.
the Illuminati.
8, 4, 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what did you say? 8 times 4.
No, you add up
8.
8, add up 4 and 6 is 18. And then you divide that by 3, which is a sacred number, and you get 666, which is like, it is fucking crazy. But I like to
6
look at
times
like
3 is 18.
dates. I like to look at like dates, things that the fucking media pumps into your brain like all the time. Like they're just, I feel like there's reasons why all of the shit that they show us, for
sure.
all
The
the shit that
media
they show
is
us.
probably like, it's kind of cliche to say, but like, yeah, the media is, and it's kind of weird because like that's kind of like a right wing like rhetoric now. Like the media is the devil.
Or
Even though
fake news,
fake news,
Fake news.
made up
Even
by the
though, like,
CIA.
they have like, I don't know. I mean, I guess right wing or left wing media, it's all just bullshit. But what was I gonna say? Oh, I've said it before. I bought that book. I think Mikey has it. Maybe I should get it back from him. It might be a good time to read it. Behold the Pale Horse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Behold the Pale
absolutely.
Horse.
It's a great book.
So, one of the early chapters.
Oh
Oh shit! One of the early chapters, right? There was like a forward, and this I think the first chapter forward, and then the first chapter is called "Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars." Yes,
Yeah, we know this.
you told you right.
Yeah,
okay.
you've told us on the show too.
Right, I know. That's what I mean. I'm just bringing it up again. And the whole chapter is about, like manipulation, like through the
Yeah.
media, like just making people stupid.
That's what it-
There's another book. It's called
And this
The
was
Media
like
Virus.
1980 that this book came
the
out.
MIDI virus,
The media virus.
the media virus.
And it goes more into that
Mhm.
section of the book.
Yeah,
You know how the media has kind of like slowly just like
it's a scary book, honestly.
crept into your
You're
mind.
worried about an
Mm.
eclipse? That's more scary. Fucking getting manipulated by fucking and not knowing
Fuck.
what's right.
Well, I ain't
Every
gonna
single
fuck-
day.
Nah,
It is scary. You're
Yeah,
right. That's
yeah.
why I
You know,
I
who's-
have really like escaped into like gaming and like getting more to my computer and like editing and like trying to do music, because like just being on the phone and just even going through Instagram, or it's all just very,
heavy.
I
You-
just don't want to. It's like I don't know. It's just all it's all
You
very
know,
heavy.
in the
It's
end-
kinda, you're kind of like taking the red pill or the blue pill, you know, like
Yeah.
in the end, you know
You
who's
you wanna do
helping,
something, you know.
who's helping them
Uh-huh.
control you, is things like Siri, your phone, shit
Not-
like that.
Don't you take that back.
Fucking,
You take that
you
back.
know, all of these artificial.
You don't talk about her that way.
These artificial computer generated thoughts that like personalities.
You know what's funny?
that know your
is,
every move.
when I was starting up my cell phone, my new iPhone, and when I started up the Catalina when I updated my computer today,
Yeah.
both of them asked, "Can Apple like save all your shit so that we could use it to better our dictation and better our AI so that it can understand you better?"
Mhm.
You put yes.
Fuck no! I said hell no.
Oh, I thought it gives you, so you're allowed to say no.
Yeah, you could say no
Oh,
or like
okay.
set it up later. And you
Yeah,
just
because
never
I know
set it
there's
up.
some.
And then also too, when you do apps, when you open a new app, it
Yeah.
says, do you want us to use do you want the GPS on this app like never,
oh yeah.
only while you're using it, or do you want it on all the time?
Mm-hmm.
So I always put only when I'm using it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
way.
like the standard. Like,
yeah, that's like the standard. Because I'm like, why would I want it on all the time?
Because you want them to track
Would
you
you-
down.
Shit.
Are you okay with us knowing where you are at all the time?
It's all yeah,
Every day.
Can we watch you all the time? Is that all right?
They're watching you
We're
right
just
now.
worried.
Give us access to your
Are you
camera.
okay?
They've seen the show before you even put it
Dude,
out.
one of these days, I'm going to be in my room. I'm going to be sleeping. And Siri's going to be like, "Ling." It's going to go off. And I'm going to fucking lose it.
Dude, that shit always happens with my Alexa. That's when I'm playing the game. You guys heard me before, where like, we're playing online on PS4. Alexa will go off, but the ring will just turn on, like if she's listening to the conversation.
Maybe it's
And
like
I
a
always-
ghost voice.
every time
Ghost
that-
whispers.
Well, every time that happens, you guys will hear me every once in a while. But I will like,
EVP?
Alexa, stop fucking listening to my conversation.
She's like, I am sorry, but you are talking so loud.
I remember when you're just so interesting. I remember when like Alexa first like hit the scene, right?
Mhm.
Like that whole like having that hub in your house, that whole became a
Yeah.
thing. There was videos of people, and you could ask Alexa anything. Alexa, listen that, and that they would ask Alexa a series of questions. They would start with like a simple one, and then they would get a little bit more complicated, and then the last one would say, Alexa, do you record my voice for purposes related to the CIA? Something along those lines.
Mhm.
Do you work for the CIA? And it wouldn't answer. It would just turn off.
yeah.
Let's try it with Siri.
Oh shit! Wow. I'm using my
yeah.
phone to record. right now.
Next time. I don't have an iPhone, so.
Yeah, mine is also.
All
being
right,
used
we
for the
could try
recording.
it with Siri.
What you looking? What you thinking?
He doesn't want to know.
He doesn't want Siri. He doesn't want to ruin his British Siri.
All right,
Well,
fellas.
We'll save it for the rabbit hole.
Right.
All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for coming in. J-Rad, you working on any new music? You got anything?
Man, I'm working on music fucking rarely right now, but I have a whole like back catalog of
Yeah.
shit that I'm
Yeah.
waiting to put
I
out.
just got the update of Logic, and they have
The live.
the
loops.
live loop, which is like an Ableton
Amazing.
esque program now.
Oh.
You can't. Well, we still haven't figured out if you could actually like, what do you call it when you get the MIDI keyboard?
MIDI trigger.
Yeah, and like trigger with MIDI, but you can pretty much trigger like within the program. It's pretty cool. I was watching a video on how to use it, and it's gonna.
I'm gonna have to check out
It's
the
pretty
update.
dope.
Yeah, it's gonna
It's
change.
really
It's
dope.
gonna.
I did put out a house album
Nice.
recently under
Really?
under
Yeah.
another like moniker though, another stage name.
Yeah.
It's
Plug
a-
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's-
sometimes
did
you
you
gotta
put it
change the
out at?
monikers. Not everything. can be the same.
Spotify, Bandcamp, Apple, iTunes Music.
Really, you just put it out?
It's probably been like a couple weeks that I put it out. But
Damn,
yeah,
you
it's
didn't-
called Grandma's
You
House.
put any word on it?
Check
Like
it
I
out
haven't
on
heard about it.
Spotify. Nah, because I've been promoting it just through word of mouth, like pretty much trying to see how far that gets me. But now this is the first actual like promo for it. 'Cause-
Well, I ain't never heard of it.
well, now you have, so
Yeah,
check it
okay,
out.
for sure.
The
Heard,
stage
heard.
name is
Moniker.
Sewer Sound, SWRXSND.
So it's on Spotify under.
SWRXSND. That's the
Mm.
name, artist name, and then Grandma's House. It's a house album.
All
So
right.
if you
Grandma's House.
Yeah, if you fuck
Word.
with electronic music, little chill house, because I fuck with everything. So
Okay.
Where,
you know.
Where's Bond?
And how did you
Yeah.
make that? You made it on
I made it on Machine.
machine.
Yeah,
Nice.
I think one beat that I had,
A machine.
one song I had
I'm
from
on
I made on
Machine.
Fruity Loops, but other than that,
I started fucking with FL Studio with I didn't like it though. I'm just gonna use Logic.
fuck you. FL's dope, but yeah.
Is it?
I
Well, I
used-
got
I
the
fucked with it
the
for
trial.
like 10 years.
I got
man.
the trial version.
Oh,
So
I mean,
I
if
don't
you know
know.
how to use it, Fruity Loops is fucking. It's pretty dope.
Fruity Loops or FL Studio? They're different.
FL Studios is the same shit,
Yeah,
isn't
FL
it?
Studios Fruity Loops.
Is it?
Yeah,
I don't know. I never used either of them.
yeah, but
Well, it's the same
I
one.
mean,
Oh.
once
the
I
same one.
started, once I started using, Machine Native Instruments, like it
Native Instruments is
it
really
completely like
Oh, really?
blew
Like,
the,
that's where it's
the
at?
workflow,
Yeah,
but-
that's what I mean. The workflow in Logic is gonna get a lot better now. Now that they have that live
good.
loop,
Yeah.
like it's
Mm.
pretty
Oh,
dope
it's
because like it
great.
kind of works the same as the machine where you can just record loops and
we're gonna have to
Yeah, it puts them on
revisit
the
the
level.
sleazy listening
yeah, we could.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could.
album.
Come true to the pad.
I
So
got
check
you.
out J-Rad on Spotify, iTunes.
Yeah.
I actually just got my guitar like completely fixed up, like set up, brand new. It's gonna come back to me tomorrow, so we can put some work down.
Wow.
Yeah,
Put some
Alright.
miles on that shit.
Or
I'm
that-
feeling loose right now, right? So I'm just, the conversation doesn't have to end.
Oh, okay. Well.
Nah, I'm over it.
Orlando, thank you for coming in. You got anything
Hey,
you've been
thank
working
you,
on?
man. Got a couple projects I'm still trying to like polish up, get ready to
What's up with the
you
grub
know,
and groove?
get mixed. Grub and Groove. It's as soon as this
Ever
pandemic
since I
is
known
over.
Orland, like as an adult, like when we went into our 20s, Orland's always talked about the Grub and Groove, which is like this like all access like experience of music and food and social.
Grub and Groove.
Grub and Groove,
Grub and
baby.
Groove. Grub and Groove. It's a cart coming to
I wanted to call it
belly near you.
Orlands, but
Well,
Orlands.
I don't know.
welcome
I guess
to Orlands.
yeah.
But Grub and Groove
yeah.
I think Grub and Groove sounds better.
rolls off
Yeah.
the tongue.
It's got a little something more to it, you know.
The Grub and Groove.
But yeah, so I mean, honestly, I was ready to like get ready to drop it before, like start getting things going before all of this started.
Yeah.
So I like, you know, like my plan was to buy a truck, put a lift gate on it, so like me or whoever else is in it get stuff going. Next thing I know, this shit slams in. I'm like, oh, it would be when I like, you know, I'm ready to tackle on the world, getting the next step, you know.
I remember I recall a conversation with Orland, and this was not too long ago. This was maybe in the last 2 years.
Okay.
Oh, that's not too long.
And
Like
Orland,
10
you
years
know,
ago or
the
something.
Grub and Groove, right? And we're kind of like, you know, we're spitballing ideas and like, you know,
Yeah.
how would this, you know, it's different, playing out scenarios. And like, Orland pretty much offers me, you know, the sous chef job. You know,
Yeah.
I never cooked a day in my life, but he,
You're gonna learn.
but he goes, you know, hey man, you know, you do all the prep and you know maybe work the register, you know, or whatever. And like it sounds fun, but I'm like, you know, to put it into action, I was kind of like, you know, I go, you know, it's a lot of work to start your own business. It's a lot of look at how much work we put into the podcast, and it's like it's nothing, you know.
Yeah,
You ain't-
compared to
Imagine a
rest-
fucking
yeah.
doing food prep every day
Yeah.
and this and that. So I was like, yeah, so you know, and I'm like, nah, like, I don't think, like, I don't think
You're a
it's for
good
me, bro.
candidate.
And he goes, well, what do you, like, he's like, well, what are you gonna do then? If you don't do this, like, what the fuck are you gonna do? And I looked at him in the eye and I said, destined for showbiz, baby.
And here we are.
Welcome to
Well, the show must go on.
we give you the reverend.
All right, we can end it on that.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for showing
All
up.
right.
Rev, and us. Sail that ship.
All right, see you guys. Thanks, guys, for coming. I love Orland and I love Jrat, and you're always friends of mine. Hope you guys are doing good, and hope your families are doing good. Hope everyone's safe and healthy, and you guys stay safe and healthy, and make sure to take care of yourself.
Ditto.
That was beautiful, man.